The Korean Mafia boss ordered everyone out of the restaurant, except the quiet waitress who saved his life. Everyone out. Now. Except you. I froze with the teapot still in my hand. The entire restaurant had cleared in seconds, customers running, my co-workers scrambling for the exits. But Kang Ji-hoon, the most feared man in Seoul's underworld, was pointing directly at me. Me? I whispered. You, he said, blood seeping through his white shirt. You're going to save my life tonight. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how a nobody waitress became the only person a ruthless Korean mafia boss ever trusted. My name is Min Seo-yeon. 25 years old. Orphan. Worked double shifts at Moonlight Garden, a high-end Korean restaurant in Gangnam, just to afford my tiny studio apartment. I was invisible. The quiet girl who took orders, poured tea, and disappeared into the background. That's how I survived. Keep your head down. Don't make eye contact. Don't get noticed. Especially not by people like Kang Ji-hoon. Everyone in Seoul knew about the Kang family. They controlled everything: real estate, shipping, nightclubs, politicians. 3 generations of power built on blood and fear. And Ji-hoon was the crown prince. 32 years old. Cold. Calculating. They said he took over the family business at 25 after his father was murdered, and within a year, he'd eliminated every rival family in the city. He came to Moonlight Garden every Thursday night. Always the private room upstairs. Always with his men. Never looked at the staff. Never spoke to us. Until that night. It was 11 p.m. I was clearing tables when I heard the screaming upstairs. Gunshots. Breaking glass. Men shouting in Korean and Russian. My co-workers ran for the exits. The manager disappeared into his office and locked the door. I should have run too. But then I heard footsteps on the stairs. Heavy. Uneven. Someone was hurt. Kang Ji-hoon stumbled into the main dining room, one hand pressed against his side, blood spreading across his expensive suit. 3 of his men were with him, 2 wounded, 1 already dead weight being dragged between them. Behind them, I could hear more footsteps. The Russians were coming. Clear the restaurant. Ji-hoon barked at his men. Get everyone out. Now. His men started shoving the remaining customers toward the exits. Staff scattered. In 30 seconds, the restaurant was empty. Except me. I'd frozen behind the bar, crouched down, hidden from view. I should have run. But I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. That's when Ji-hoon's cold eyes found me. You, Ji-hoon said, his voice steady despite the blood loss. Come here. I stood on shaking legs. I was just. I know what you were doing. Hiding. Smart. He pressed harder against his wound. But now you're going to help me. I don't know how to. First aid kit. Kitchen. You know where it is? I nodded. Every restaurant had one. Get it. You have 30 seconds before the Russians breach that door. I ran. Grabbed the kit from the kitchen. Ran back. Ji-hoon's men had overturned tables, creating a makeshift barricade at the entrance. Through the windows, I could see shadows moving outside. Men with guns. Waiting. They're not coming in yet, Ji-hoon said, reading my fear. They want to negotiate. But I need to stop this bleeding before I lose consciousness. That's where you come in. He sat heavily in a chair, pulling his jacket off. His white shirt was soaked red. Have you ever treated a gunshot wound? He asked. No. You're about to learn. Open the kit. My hands shook as I opened the first aid kit. This was insane. I was a waitress, not a doctor. The bullet went through, Ji-hoon said clinically, lifting his shirt to show me. Entry wound front, exit wound back. You need to pack both wounds to stop the bleeding. Can you do that? I think so. You need to know so. If I pass out from blood loss, the Russians will storm in here and kill everyone. Including you. So I'm asking again, can you do this? I looked into his eyes. They were dark. Intense. But beneath the coldness, I saw something else, pain. Vulnerability. He was human. Bleeding. Mortal. Yes, I said. I can do it. Good girl. Now listen carefully. He talked me through every step. How to clean the wounds. How to pack them with gauze. How to apply pressure. His voice never wavered, even when I knew it must have hurt terribly. You're doing well, I think. I started carefully. I think a man who would sacrifice himself for his people is worth saving. But I also think the people outside aren't going to let anyone leave alive whether you surrender or not. Ji-hoon smiled. Actually smiled. You're smart. Smarter than half my advisors. He stood, wincing slightly. You're right. They'll kill us all regardless. So we're going to do something they won't expect. He looked at me. How well do you know this building, Seo-yun? There's a delivery entrance, I said. In the back. Through the kitchen. It leads to the alley behind the restaurant. The Russians will have it covered, one of Ji-hoon's men said. Not that exit, I continued. There's another one. The old coal chute from when this building was a bathhouse. It's been sealed up, but it still connects to the maintenance tunnels under the street. The manager showed it to me once when we had a rat problem. Ji-hoon's eyes lit up. Can you get us there? Yes, but... I hesitated. Why would I help you escape? I don't even know you. For all I know, you're worse than the men outside. It was a bold thing to say. His men tensed. Hands moved toward weapons. But Ji-hoon held up a hand, stopping them. You're right to question, he said. You owe me nothing. But let me ask you this, if you don't help us, what do you think happens when the Russians storm this building? Do you think they'll let the witness live? My blood ran cold. I hadn't thought about that. Help me escape, Ji-hoon continued, and I promise you'll be protected. Compensated. Given a choice about what comes next. But most importantly, you'll stay alive. That's my offer. I looked at his men. At the blood on the floor. At the shadows outside the windows. Okay, I said. Follow me. The old coal chute was exactly where I remembered, behind a false wall in the kitchen's storage room. It took 3 of us to pull the panel away. It's a tight fit, I warned. And it'll be dark. We've been in worse, Ji-hoon said. He turned to his men. Lee, you take point. Min, you're with me. The rest of you, stay here. Make noise. Make them think we're all still in the building. Give us 10 minutes, then surrender. Tell them I escaped alone. They have no reason to hurt you if I'm gone. Boss, we should all go, one man protested. That's an order, Ji-hoon cut him off. His voice softened slightly. Tell my mother I'm sorry. And take care of my sister. Make sure she finishes university before she gets involved in family business. The men bowed. There were tears in some of their eyes. Then Ji-hoon turned to me. Lead the way, Seo-yun. The tunnels were worse than I remembered. Narrow. Wet. Pitch black except for our phone flashlights. Ji-hoon was moving slower now, the blood loss catching up to him. Are you okay? I asked. I've been better, he admitted. But I've also been worse. Keep moving. We crawled for what felt like hours but was probably only 10 minutes. Finally, I found the ladder I was looking for. This leads up to the subway maintenance access, I said. From there, we can get to the street 2 blocks away. You've done well, Ji-hoon said. When we get out of here. That's when we heard the explosion behind us. The restaurant. They'd breached it. And we heard screaming. His men. Ji-hoon's face went cold. Hard. The vulnerable man who'd thanked me for helping him disappeared, replaced by the Mafia boss everyone feared. They're dead, he said flatly. Because of me. Because I chose to run instead of fight. You would have died if you'd stayed, I said quietly. Perhaps. But they died so I could live. That's a debt I can never repay. He looked at me. You understand what I am now. What this life costs. So I'm giving you one more choice, Seo-yun. You can climb that ladder, go home, forget this night ever happened. I'll make sure you're protected from a distance. You'll never see me again. Or? I whispered. Or you stay with me. Help me get to safety tonight. And tomorrow, we figure out what comes next together. I should have climbed that ladder. Should have run home and locked my door and pretended none of this happened. But something in his eyes stopped me. Pain. Guilt. Loneliness. This man who everyone feared, who controlled an empire, who could buy or kill anything he wanted, he was alone. Carrying the weight of his men's deaths. Bleeding in a tunnel beneath Seoul. And for some reason, I couldn't leave him like that. I'll stay, I said. For tonight. But you have to promise me something. What? Tell me the truth. Always. No matter how ugly it is. If I'm risking my life for you, I deserve to know who you really are. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, deal. Now let's get out of here before more Russians come looking. We emerged in an alley 3 blocks from the restaurant. Ji-hoon made a phone call in rapid Korean, then we waited. 10 minutes later, a black sedan pulled up. No questions asked. We got in. The driver took us to a high-rise apartment building in an expensive part of Seoul. Top floor. Corner unit. The kind of place I could never afford in 10 lifetimes. This is one of my safe houses, Ji-hoon explained as we entered. No one knows about it except my driver and now you. We'll be safe here while I figure out our next move. The apartment was beautiful. Modern. Minimal. And completely impersonal, like no one had ever actually lived there. Sit, Ji-hoon said, lowering himself carefully onto the couch. We need to talk. You asked for the truth, he began. So here it is. My name is Kang Ji-hoon. I'm the head of the Kang family, one of the 5 major criminal organizations in South Korea. We control approximately 30% of Seoul's underground economy. Gambling, construction, shipping, entertainment. He paused, watching my reaction. Go on, I said quietly. The men who attacked tonight were Russian Brava. They'd been trying to muscle into our territory for months. Tonight was supposed to be a peace negotiation. Instead, it was an ambush. They killed 3 of my men. Would have killed me too if you hadn't helped. Why did they want you dead? Because I'm the youngest head of family in Seoul's underworld. They think I'm weak. Inexperienced. They think if they kill me, the Kang family will collapse into infighting and they can pick up the pieces. He looked at me. They're wrong. What are you going to do? War, he said simply. Total war. By tomorrow, every Russian operation in Seoul will be burning. They wanted violence. I'll give them violence they'll never forget. The coldness in his voice sent chills down my spine. But first, he continued, his voice softening slightly, I need to deal with this. He gestured to his bandaged wound. You need a real doctor, I said. I have one on the way. But until he gets here, stay with me. Please. It was the please that got me. This powerful man, asking. Not ordering. Asking. Okay, I said. I'll stay. While we waited for the doctor, Ji-hoon asked me questions. Tell me about yourself, Seo-yun. Your family? I don't have one. I grew up in an orphanage. Aged out at 18. Been on my own ever since. No one? No friends? No boyfriend? I shook my head. I learned early that attachments are dangerous. People leave. People die. It's easier to be alone. That's a sad way to live, he said quietly. Says the man who runs a criminal empire, I countered. He actually laughed. Fair point. But you're wrong about one thing, I'm not alone. I have family. A mother who prays for my soul every night. A younger sister who still thinks I'm a legitimate businessman. Uncles, cousins, men who've been loyal to our family for generations. Then why did it feel like you were alone in that tunnel? I asked. He was quiet. Because they follow me out of duty. Tradition. Fear. But you chose to help me. Not because you had to. Not because you owed me anything. But because. He trailed off. Because what? I don't know yet, he admitted. But I want to find out. The doctor arrived, an older man who clearly knew Ji-hoon well and asked no questions. He examined the wounds I'd packed. She did well, he said in Korean, which Ji-hoon translated for me. Very well actually. You might have bled out if she hadn't stopped the bleeding. The wounds are clean. No infection. You'll need rest and antibiotics, but you'll survive. The doctor stitched him up properly, gave him pain medication, and left with a warning to rest for at least 3 days. 3 days, Ji-hoon scoffed after he left. I don't have 3 days. The Russians can wait until morning, I said firmly. You heard the doctor. You need rest. And food. When's the last time you ate? He thought about it. Yesterday? Maybe? I stood. Where's your kitchen? Seo-yun, you don't have to. You promised me the truth, remember? So here's my truth, I need to do something normal right now. Something that makes sense. So I'm going to cook. And you're going to sit there and rest. And we're both going to pretend for 1 hour that we're normal people having a normal night. Deal? He smiled. Deal. I found ingredients for a simple meal, kimchi jjigae, rice, some banchan side dishes. Nothing fancy, but comfort food. The kind of food that heals. As I cooked, Ji-hoon watched from the couch. We talked. Really talked. He told me about taking over the family business at 25, when his father was killed by a rival family. About the violence and decisions that haunted him. About his sister who wanted to be a teacher and knew nothing about the family's real business. I told him about the orphanage. About working 3 jobs to put myself through community college. About the loneliness of being invisible in a city of 10 million people. You're not invisible to me, he said quietly when I brought him a bowl. Not anymore. We ate in comfortable silence. And for that 1 hour, we were just 2 people. Not a mafia boss and a waitress. Just 2 people who'd survived something terrible together. I woke up on Ji-hoon's couch, sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Then I smelled coffee. Ji-hoon was in the kitchen, moving carefully but looking better than last night. He'd changed into casual clothes, black pants, a simple t-shirt. Without the expensive suit, he looked younger. Almost normal. You should still be resting, I said. I slept. That's enough. He poured me coffee. We need to talk about what happens next. My stomach dropped. You're sending me away. No. I'm giving you choices. Real ones. He sat across from me. Last night, you saved my life. That creates an obligation. In my world, debts like that are sacred. So here are your options. He pulled out a folder. Option 1, I set you up with a new identity, a job in another city, enough money to start over. You walk away clean. I'll make sure you're protected from a distance, but we never see each other again. Option 2. I whispered. You stay in Seoul. I buy you a better apartment, set you up with a legitimate job in one of my legal businesses. Again, we maintain distance, but you're under my protection. If you ever need anything, you call. And option 3? He hesitated. Option 3 is complicated. Dangerous. Probably stupid. Tell me anyway. You stay here. With me. Not as an employee. Not as. I don't know what. But I know I'm not ready to let you walk away yet. And if you feel even a fraction of what I'm feeling right now. He stopped, looking almost vulnerable. Is that insane? I've known you for less than 12 hours. It's insane, I agreed. My heart was racing. But I feel it too. Whatever this is. Before Ji-hoon could respond, his phone rang. He answered, his expression darkening as he listened. When he hung up, the vulnerability was gone. The Mafia boss was back. The Russians hit 2 of our warehouses overnight. Killed 5 men. Send a message. His jaw clenched. They're not backing down. What are you going to do? What I have to do. End this. Tonight. He looked at me. I need to ask you something, and I need absolute honesty. Can you handle what I am? What I do? Because it's not just business meetings and expensive restaurants. There will be blood. Violence. Difficult choices. And if you stay with me, you'll see all of it. I thought about the men who died in the restaurant. About the coldness in Ji-hoon's eyes when he talked about war. About the life he was offering me. I don't know, I said honestly. But I want to try. If you'll let me. Then tonight, you see everything. The real me. The monster everyone fears. And tomorrow, you make your final choice. Deal? Deal. That evening, Ji-hoon took me to a meeting. His remaining men gathered in a warehouse on the outskirts of Seoul, about 20 of them, all looking grim. This is Seo-yeon, Ji-hoon announced in Korean and English. She saved my life. She's under my protection. Anyone who touches her answers to me. Understood? They all nodded, some curious, some resentful, but all obedient. The meeting was brutal. Ji-hoon laid out his plan, simultaneous strikes on every Russian operation in the city. No mercy. No prisoners. Total war. I watched him transform. The gentleman who'd asked me to stay became something else. Cold. Calculating. Ruthless. He was magnificent and terrifying at the same time. You're quiet, he said when the meeting ended and his men dispersed to prepare. I'm processing, I admitted. You're different than I expected. Smarter. More strategic. I thought you'd just be angry. Violent. I am angry. And I will be violent. But controlled violence. Calculated rage. That's how you survive in this world. Emotion gets you killed. He studied my face. Are you afraid of me now? Yes, I said honestly. But not in the way you think. I'm afraid of how much I'm drawn to this. To you. Even knowing what you are. He stepped closer. And what am I, Seo-yeon? Dangerous. Powerful. Damaged. I met his eyes. And somehow exactly what I'd been looking for my whole life without knowing it. He kissed me then. Hard. Desperate. Like he was drowning and I was air. When we broke apart, we were both breathing hard. I shouldn't want you, he said. You deserve better than this life. Better than me. Stop telling me what I deserve, I countered. Let me decide for myself. Then decide. Right now. Before tonight happens. Before you see what I'm capable of. Stay or go, Seo Yun. But choose. I looked into his dark eyes. Saw the monster. Saw the man. Saw the lonely boy who'd inherited an empire he never asked for. I choose you, I whispered. Whatever that means. Wherever it leads. Ji-hoon wanted me to stay at the safe house, but I refused. If I was going to be part of his life, I needed to see all of it. We drove to the Russians' main base, a nightclub in Itaewon. Ji-hoon's men surrounded the building. I stayed in the car with 2 guards, watching through tinted windows. What happened next was brutal. Fast. Efficient. Ji-hoon moved through that building like death itself. When it was over, the Russian Bratva's sole operation was destroyed. Their leaders were either dead or fleeing the country. When Ji-hoon returned to the car, there was blood on his hands. His shirt. His face. He looked at me, waiting for horror. Disgust. Fear. Instead, I handed him a towel from the car. Are you hurt? No. None of this is mine. He cleaned his hands, eyes never leaving my face. You're still here. Where else would I be? Running. Screaming. Calling the police. His voice was rough. Most people would be disgusted by what they just saw. I'm not most people, I said quietly. And you're not most men. You did what you had to do to protect your family. Your people. I understand that. Do you? Really? He leaned closer. Because this is my life, Seo Yun. This violence. This darkness. It doesn't end. It doesn't get better. If you stay with me, this is what you're choosing. I took his blood-stained hand. My turn for truth. You want to know why I helped you that first night? Why I didn't run when I had the chance? Why? Because for the first time in my life, someone noticed me. Really saw me. Not the invisible waitress. Not the orphan. Not the girl working 3 jobs just to survive. You saw me. And when you asked for my help, you didn't order. You didn't demand. You asked. Like I mattered. Tears welled in my eyes. My whole life, I've been alone. Invisible. Forgotten. But when you looked at me in that restaurant, bleeding and desperate, you made me feel like I was someone worth saving too. So yes, I'm choosing this. Choosing you. Not because I'm naive or broken or confused. But because for the first time, I feel alive. Ji-hoon pulled me into his arms. You're not invisible to me. You'll never be invisible to me again. I promise you that. I'm standing in Ji-hoon's penthouse, our penthouse now, looking out over Seoul. So much has changed. I don't work at the restaurant anymore. Ji-hoon set me up with a position at his legitimate real estate company. Good pay, real work, no ties to the criminal side of his business. But I know what he does. Where the money really comes from. The difficult choices he makes to keep his family safe. And somehow, I've made peace with it. Because I've also seen the other side. The loyalty. The protection he provides to thousands of people. The code he lives by. The man beneath the monster. What are you thinking about? Ji-hoon asks, wrapping his arms around me from behind. How different my life is now, I say. 6 months ago, I was invisible. Alone. Just trying to survive. And now? Now I'm with Seoul's most dangerous man. Living in a penthouse. Learning how to navigate a world I never knew existed. I turn in his arms. And somehow, I've never been happier. He kisses my forehead. My mother wants to meet you officially. Dinner next week. She's nervous. The great Madame Kong is nervous to meet me? You saved her son's life. That makes you family. And my mother takes family very seriously. He paused. She also wants to know when we're getting married. I froze. Married? Too soon. He smiled slightly. I can tell her to wait. Give us time. Or. I bit my lip. You could tell her you're working on it. Maybe planning something special. In your own time. His eyes widened. Are you saying? I'm saying I'm not ready for tomorrow. But I'm not ruling out someday. With you. If you'll have me. Ji-hoon pulled out a small box. I was going to wait. Do this properly. But since you brought it up. He opened it. Inside was a simple ring. Beautiful. Elegant. Nothing ostentatious. This was my grandmother's, he said quietly. She gave it to my father for my mother. And my mother gave it to me for, well, for the woman I couldn't live without. He got down on one knee. Min Seo-yun. You saved my life that night. But more than that, you gave me a reason to value it again. You see the monster and the man and somehow love both. So I'm asking, will you marry me? Will you be my family? My partner? My everything? I couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. Yes, I finally whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. He slipped the ring on my finger. Pulled me close. Kissed me like it was our first time and our last time and every time in between. When we finally broke apart, I laughed through tears. Your mother is going to freak out. My mother is going to be thrilled, he corrected. My sister will probably cry. My uncles will give you the shovel talk. And every rival family in Seoul will know you're untouchable. Sounds terrifying. It will be, he agreed. But I'll be with you. Always. I promise you that. The wedding was small. Private. Just family and Ji-hoon's closest men. I wore my mother-in-law's hanbok. Ji-hoon wore traditional Korean wedding attire. We bowed to his ancestors and made promises in front of everyone who mattered. Now I'm sitting in that same restaurant where everything started. Moonlight Garden. Ji-hoon bought it 6 months ago. Renovated it. Turned it into our place. We come here every Thursday. Same table where I used to serve him tea. Where our story began. Do you ever regret it? He asks, reading my mind like he always does. Choosing this life? I think about it. Really think about it. Sometimes I wonder what my life would have been like if I'd run that night. If I'd climbed that ladder and never looked back. I take his hand. But then I remember what I would have missed. You. Us. This family. This life. And I know I made the right choice. Even knowing what you know now. What it costs. Especially knowing what it costs, I say firmly. Because I also know what I gained. I'm not invisible anymore, Ji-hoon. I'm not alone. I'm not just surviving, I'm living. Really living. And that's worth everything. He brings my hand to his lips. Kisses my ring. I love you, Min Seo-yun Kong. I love you too, husband. Later that night, as we're leaving the restaurant, Ji-hoon pauses at the entrance. What is it? I ask. Just remembering, he says. The night I ordered everyone out. Everyone except you. The quiet waitress who saved my life. I think you saved mine too, I say. You just did it differently. He pulls me close. We saved each other. That's how this works. That's how it'll always work. And as we walk out into the soul night, hand in hand, I realize something important. Sometimes the most dangerous choice is the right one. Sometimes the monster is really a man. And sometimes, the invisible girl gets to be the princess in her own story. Not because she was rescued, but because she chose to save someone else. And in doing so, saved herself too.